What's up YouTube, Dale here from Fabled Games, and by gosh did you guys want to see this test stand video. So this is the synchro version of Darkworld Dangers involving Fabled Raven. If you guys want to see it that much, I'm going to have to pick out secrets of this guy because it's got to match the rest of this beautiful deck. So you guys definitely wanted to see what Fabled Raven can add to this deck. So what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle up. We're going to do a test stand going first and a test stand going second. And then after that, if we haven't seen Fabled Raven, I'll show you the very basic combos that involve them, or just add Fabled Raven to one of my hands. With all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. If you do get this video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, it will unlock the one of lucky profile. Now what I mean by that is, in that profile, what we do is we swap out the normal summon, and the normal summon will be Armageddon Knight, Reinforced with the Army, and 2 unknown cards for now. And they are basically one single card power plays that will get you as far as you need to go. So with all of that out of the way, let's shuffle up, cut up, and draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That hand is bonkers busted. So, obviously we don't have Fabled Raven at the moment, but we still have ways to dig for it. We'll start off by special summoning out our Fenrir. We'll use the Fenrir effect to search out another copy of itself because it's free! Who doesn't like a free card? Obviously, Fenrir is not free. It's stupidly expensive. But, if you've got it, it's free! So, summoning out the Fenrir, we're then going to do the good old-fashioned Genta combo. Love this combo, such a crazy good card. So we search out Gates of the Dark World. You're going to activate Gates of the Dark World. You are going to target the Genta, banishing the Genta, and discarding the Snow. Now we're going to shuffle up to make sure that the draw is fair and random. So we draw for that. Boom. Chupacabra, nice. Snow's effect will now resolve and search you out any Darkworld card. I kind of want Ascension, but I also kind of don't want Ascension. So we'll go with Rainbow. Obviously, Genta's effect will summon itself back. Now, if I really wanted to, I could activate Gate of the Dark World and loop the Genta back to my hand. That's entirely up to you on your ways of play. And what I mean by that is you activate Gate of the Dark World, you'll use this effect, you'll banish the Snow from the graveyard, and you'll discard the Rainbow. You'll draw a random card. You will then resolve the Rainbow, searching you out a level 5 or higher. And on this one, probably because we're digging for the monsters, actually let's go with silver, because silver or gold, either one doesn't matter. Just because I want to try and show you the synchro play. So if I get to a Fabled Raven, I'll be able to utilize that at its max potential. So we're going to shuffle this all up. And then what we'll do is we'll use the Rainbow to add the Genta back to the hand and bring itself back to the board. We'll then activate a Lure because we've pretty much maxed out our hand with everything we can. We could start revealing the dangers, but there's no point in doing that yet. Let's draw and see what we get. So we get a Ceruli and we get a second silver. So at this point, it's entirely up to you what you want to banish. Obviously, anything you banish will not be coming back because we've already used Genta's effect. I want to maximize, so Genta to me, out of this entire hand, is the most useless because if I discard it off of a danger, it doesn't do anything. So we'll go with our hand like that. We'll then reveal our Jackalope. So we'll go 1 to 6. That was a terrible roll. There we go, 2. Hit the Fenrir. Summon out Jackalope. Draw a card. Now obviously it didn't let us extend as far as we wanted to, but we do have a very nice Chupacabra. Now what I would actually advise before you do anything like that is this is probably where you want to link off the Jackalope so that if you do hit Chupacabra, you still get a monster to the board. Now at this point, when you look at all of the others that we've got, Cross Sheep is probably your best generic card to go for. IP, obviously, of course, is another very good option, but the reason with Cross Sheep is I would highly expect at some point throughout the plays I want to be getting to a fusion play at the very least. So we'll review Chupacabra 1 to 5. Don't forget, you still have a normal summon of a danger should you absolutely have to, which will get Rainbow back to the board. So shuffle is 5. So we hit the Snow, which is perfect. Summon down the Chupacabra, draw a card off the Chupacabra, gold, nice. And then Snow's effect will resolve. Now, Snow is going to allow you to get any Darkworld card. There's a couple of ways you can do this actually. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do it. Now, Ascension is great, but then I've got no way of getting to Grethel, which isn't the ideal scenario. One way I can do it, and again this will just rely on luck of the draws, is off of Archives, and I'll show you how you do that now. So this will eat up our normal summon, meaning that the only way we can get Raven to the board, if we do draw into it, is going to be off of the back of Saruja. But what you do here is you normal summon your Ceruli. You'll then use the effect of Rainbow to add Ceruli back to the hand. There we go. Put this on the far left so that it stays away from the two zones, because you want to keep them clear if you do go for a Synchro or anything else. You then activate Archives. You're then going to use Archives effect. You're going to discard the Ceruli just to buff your Rainbow by 100. This will then trigger Ceruli's effect to give it to your opponent, and then trigger Ceruli's effect to discard one of your cards. So we're going to discard Silver because obviously there's going to be nothing on the board for gold to pop. Silver's effect will then trigger to summon itself back, and that will of course trigger to get the second effect to loop 2 from your opponent's hand. You'll also be able to trigger the Darkworld Archives, which will allow you to discard a card. So we'll discard the Silver and draw 2. That's not what you want to see. But it's still playable. We're still going to continue to draw. Silver's effect will resolve to summon itself back. So now you've got a full board. You've got access to Saruja very, very easily. We're also going to activate talents, and you're going to go, whoa, hang on a minute, but your opponent hasn't guaranteed to activate a monster effect. Wrong. They technically activated Ceruli. So this is going to allow us to draw 2. Now, technically you should be able to look at your opponent's hand, but because I'm digging for cards, I'm going to go for the draw. Now, when you look at the board, we've actually got ways of looping Silver back to our hand, and that's quite easy by getting Rainbow off the board. Now, you can't go into a Saruja with these 4 here because they don't have different names. I could, if I wanted to, activate or use Cross Sheep's effect. Alternatively, another option I have is I've got access to an IP Masquerena. I've also got access to a BLS as well. So it's entirely up to you on where you want to go for. Now, I'm going to go, because I want to unlock a unlock zones, I'm actually going to go with these 3 right here. And we'll go into BLS. We'll then be able to trigger Rainbow's effect, put Silver back in the hand, summon itself back out. Now at this point what we're going to do is we're going to reveal Ogopogo, so 1 to 5. 3, hit the Ogopogo, that's a big sad. Ogopogo's effect will go off. You might as well Foolish Barrel here, there's no real reason to do it otherwise. So we will send a Bigfoot. Don't really need a level 8 or anything, so we'll shuffle that up. Now obviously if that had hit, we'd be in a much better position, but it's still okay. We'll reveal the Nessie. Oh, hello. If Nessie doesn't hit, again, we'll get a replacement, so it's not the end of the world. So 1 to 4, 5 and 6 reroll, 4. Hit Silver, which is fine. Summon Nessie, draw a card. Silver effect, summon itself back. Now again, we've gone a very long route to try and get to where we need to go. Of course, we can loop that Silver back to our hand again if we want to link climb up. But because, again, I just want to show you a Fabled Raven play, I am just going to continue to dig. This isn't something that I would highly advise doing all the time, but it is an option for you. So we're going to go into Saruja. There we go. Saruja's effect to let us draw 4 and put 3 back. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our Fabled Raven. Cool, and we got a Catalyzer. So we're going to put 3 back. So we're actually going to put back a Fenrir. Gold is actually golden in this one. Put back a Greffa. I can loop my hand if I can get a Darkworld to the board, which I can off the back of gold. I've got no way to the fusion spell, which is quite annoying, but I do have a way to get to Greffa, so let's put Greffa back to the bottom as well. There you go. So now what you want to do here is you've got the ability of Saruja. Saruja will then let you special summon, trigger the effect to Saruja to buff and go from there. Now what you want to do is you have the option to ditch 2 if you want to, or just 1. So I'm going to ditch 2. So we'll ditch a gold and a rainbow. This will then increase Fabled Raven's level by 2. Was that give me a Synchro 9? Do I want 2 or do I want 1? Yeah, no, I've got Catalyzer, it's fine. So you then get to resolve Rainbow. Rainbow will search you out Greffa, and then of course Gold will then trigger to summon itself down. Now at this point, what I'd want to do to kind of like give me hand advantage and loop everything back around is I'll activate Catalyzer, revealing the Greffa, but summoning out the Catalyzer, not the Greffa. In doing so, what I can do is I can add back Gold to my hand for the Rainbow, and then I can add Rainbow back to my hand for the Greffa. Now at this point, Fabled Raven's at level 4, and obviously that's a Synchro 12 or a Synchro 11, or I've got a Synchro 8 here. Now before I go into the Synchro 8, Saruja has used up all of its utility for me, so we're actually going to turn that into a Zelantis. We will then use Fabled Raven plus the Catalyzer, and we're going to go into a Synchro level 8 of a Savage. Savage's effect will then be able to equip the Skull Dread. Now if I wanted to, I could have equipped the Cross Sheep, but kind of go from there. And that's pretty much your own board. Like, you can link more if you want to. You could use Atlantis if you want to, but you're not really going to gain anything from this. And that's pretty much where you're sitting. You've got a very nice BLS, which is actually already on 33 because it's boosted by Saruja, I believe. Then, of course, you've got Savage. You've also got Gates is boosting everything as well. Savage has 4 counters on it. Your graveyard's pretty thick. There's not really anything you can kind of bounce back or do with that right now. And then your hand's not the greatest because you need a way of discarding, but you'll be able to get that during the next turn. Plus, you've got Archives that will let you continue as well. I would have much rather have liked to be able to get one of these into an Ascension, because then Ascension would then give you another way and then like a pop 2 or a hand loop. But obviously in that scenario, it was digging to get to Fabled Raven just to give you a hand-on experience of what Fabled Raven adds. Now obviously you can only play technically 3 Fabled Ravens at this moment in time, so it is only going to be as consistent as the amount of copies and ways of getting to it that you can reveal. But it does kind of show you what happens when you get to it. If you've already got a built up board and you've got a link in the graveyard, that's a very easy Savage. If you don't have any of that, that can ultimately get you into a Baron as well, as long as you have the right hand. Okay, so now we're going to shuffle up and we're going to go second. So we're going to try and hopefully show you what Fabled Raven can do being an aggressor rather than a defender. But because it is the only normal summon of the deck that you ideally want to be using, it can be varied. So after another decent shuffle and a very good cut, our opening hand of 6 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Woo, that hand's nice. So you start off with Fenrir. You're going to special the Fenrir, you're going to use his effect to replace itself. That just gives you free discard fodder for your Fabled Raven should you want to. But as you can see from our hand, it's pretty nutty. We have pretty much access to anything we want, really. So we'll shuffle this up. We'll then use Genta. Genta will then search itself out the gate. Now the reason you do this is because in theory you pretty much replace itself. So there's no reason not to use Genta the first time you do it. We'll activate Gates of the Dark World. On this one, I'm actually going to ditch the Rainbow, banishing the Genta. We'll shuffle up to draw one. What do I want to ditch the Ceruli? I'm going to ditch the Ceruli instead, actually. I think that will maximise my ability from Rainbow. So we shuffle this up. We're going to draw a card. Grapha. Wow, okay. We're then going to resolve. So chaining 1, chaining 2, summon back the Genta. Send the Ceruli to my opponent's board. Ceruli's effect will go off. On this one, I'm actually going to send the Rainbow, because the Rainbow will guarantee that I get to special a level 4 lower Dark World monster from my deck or graveyard to either field. So we'll ditch that. Not only will we be able to search out a level 5 or higher, which in this scenario, because of Fabled Raven, I'm going to go for silver. But I can also special summon a level 4 or lower. Now obviously the level 4 and lowers that I play in this deck is only Snow, which is absolutely fine because I put Snow to the board and I can actually loop it back to my hand. Now again, I've got a couple of different options here depending on how much material I would like to loop back using the Fabled Raven. So if I normal summon said Fabled Raven and then attempt to use its effect, depending on where I want to go. Now if I want to go to a level 8 Synchro, then I only need to ditch 1. If I want to go into a well, I can go a level 8 ditching 2 as well if I want to. I could ditch none and go into a level 10. I could ditch none 1 and go into a level 11. Now obviously I only have 1 zone spare, so I do need to be very careful of what I do discard and what I don't. Now if I discard the Greffa, I can loop my hand advantage. If I discard the silver and the snow, I can do a little bit more than that. I could also ditch all 3, and the reason you ditch all 3 is you go, cool, boom, get rid of 1, 2 and 3. Fabled Raven will go up to a level 5. Silver's effect will trigger to summon. Grapha's effect will trigger to pop a card. And just for ease, I'm going to pop the Ceruli. But obviously you can pop any card your opponent has. And then of course you're going to use Snow, and Snow's effect is going to search you out a Dark World card. Now you can search out Ascension, that is an option. That will just help you, sorry not Ascension, Archives, that will help you dig for additional cards, which is very easy to do because you will be able to bounce back 2 cards for resource. So if I wanted to, I could bounce back the silver. If I want to get aggressors on the board, I can bounce back Snow and Genta. So what we're going to do here is actually just for the sake of protecting everything else going forward, we'll sync the Fabled Raven with the silver and go into a Baron. That means everything else from this point on is slightly protected, and I can use Baron's effect to pop said card. Then you will have the ability to use Grepher and Rainbow. Now, in all honesty, unless I was going to search out a second Gates of the Dark World, which really I don't want to, there's no need for me to put that back in the hand. So I'd put Snow back and we'll go for a Rainbow. And then we'll put Rainbow back and we'll summon out the Grepher. And the reason for doing it that way is that I actually get more advantage, I believe, by discarding these guys than I would do discarding the Genta. So you're going to activate the Archive. Archive effect, we're actually going to ditch the Rainbow. Rainbow will then boost everything by 800, which is really nice. And then, of course, I'll be able to trigger Rainbow's effect. And I'll also be able to trigger Archives. So Rainbow's effect, we're going to search out a silver. And then off of Archive's second effect, to ditch and draw. Of course, we're going to be ditching that Snow because she will search me out any card I want for Dark Worlds. And then I get to draw 2 cards. So we get another Rainbow and we get an Ascension, which is exactly what I wanted to search anyway. Snow's effect will then trigger. This will then allow me to add any Dark World card. Now, I've already got Ascension. I could search out another Genta if I wanted to. I could go for gold, but Rainbow's going to do that for me anyway. What else have I got that can discard? So Ascension will give me a Fuse play. Let's go for... I've also got Rainbow that can loop Genta back to the hand as well. So let's go for... Where are you? Let's go for a second Grepher. Very, very easily done on this one. So then what you can do here is you can actually use the effect of Rainbow to put the Genta back to the hand. Summon itself there. Obviously you've got 4 insanely powerful boss monsters right there. I don't really need to go any further. But if I wanted to, I've got Genta to search out another gate if I wanted to banish and draw. I've got Ascension that can discard Silver plus Grepher for a pop and a summon. So it really depends on where you want to go here. So ideally what you could do is you could activate Ascension. Ascension, I would discard Grepher and Silver. Make sure you put your Grepher Fusion in the extra monster zone. You then get to trigger Grepher's effect to pop a card. You then get to trigger Silver's effect to summon itself back. You can then loop back the Silver to your hand with a Grepher, or what I would do first, just to maintain you get decent hand advantage, is use Ascension's effect to add it back to the hand and discard your Rainbow. That will then trigger Rainbow's effect in order to search a level 5 or higher. So I'm going to search out gold, so I can pop 2 cards during my opponent's turn, if it gets there, which it probably won't get there. Then you get to use Rainbow's effect to return Silver to the hand, and then return Rainbow to the hand for Grepher. There you go. So your hand is nearly completely, or is completely refilled. You've got an Ascension you can set during your opponent's turn. Not only that, but let's say our opponent does survive this, don't know how, but you've got a turn any normal spell, trap, or monster effect into I discard a card from my hand. So I've got a pop 2 and a summon, or I've got a spin back 2 and a summon, or a search. So I've got all those options. I've also got Ascension, which will allow me to discard one of these cards, any of those 3 cards, and banish a Grepher from the board. And then I also have Fenrir for a follow-up should my board get completely broken. And I'll also be able to trigger the Archive effect to ditch 1, draw 2. So should my opponent clear this board off, we're good to rock and roll. You could also go into rank 8 should you want to, or put those into your deck. Or if you think your opponent, or if your opponent, basically, if your opponent survives this turn, then what I would probably advise is you probably want to link some of these off to kind of clear some space up. But ideally, they shouldn't survive this. You've got 3k, 3k, one of these was buffed as well. Grepher was buffed, so it'd actually be up 1100. So it'd be 3-8, 3000, 3-3, 24, and banishing a card. Popped a card, 3k, 35. So like, there's no way they survive that whatsoever. Unless they have a card that can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. Hoot Cake, which is a giant pain in the arse. But then you'd probably have to go Unicorn. Oh no, because it's like unaffected by monster effects. Either way, it would be very tricky to deal with. And then you just need to control them on the turn after. Anyway, I hope you found this informative. I hope it's given you a couple of ideas on your own build. I really like the different varieties of this deck. I've had a huge amount of fun with it. And I can't wait to keep experimenting with this deck. But, as absolutely always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, stay safe. And, of course, happy dueling.